All right, here's the deal. So, a new benchmark in the escalation of this whole thing has come up. I'm keeping tabs on this video. Is about disseminating that to you. So, the most significant thing that's happened that's warranted a video is the DHS has some draft reports of their 2020 threat assessment. That stuff's not published. And interestingly enough, it's accessed by media organizations. So media has released notes on it. Most of it's CNN and Politico. So even though you can't get a copy of this report from the DHS yet, because they haven't published it, they're fine with furnishing it to the same people that defend Antifa and BLM. And this is kind of a part of the greater picture of how you are rapidly losing control of your government, and you have a foreign entity acting as your government within the United States. And this is not being addressed by any politician or pundit. And the reason why is because they're all practically all corrupt and completely out of control. And you're going to figure that out really slowly and painfully, especially if you don't understand what I'm saying. You'll get there. It's going to take a while, and by the time you figure it out, it's going to be far beyond too late. So the threat report from DHS has labeled, they've now shifted gears from the terrorism threat, identifying it as like international Muslim terrorism, which would have been like the old model. They switch it over to white supremacist extremism, or WSE is the Fed acronym that they use. I'm sure that some fucking ritzy yuppie came up with that and gave it to the feds on a white paper, and they love acronyms to use it. It makes everything feel like it's like a fucking Lego set in terms of their word construction, their concept construction. You use a 3-letter acronym, and it makes it have some kind of officialdom, so you don't have to actually look at what the fucking words are. Like, what is white supremacism? White supremacism extremism gives the connotation that there's some kind of like supremacist groups all over the United States trying to create like a white ethno-state. It's actually most likely not true at all. It's probably, in fact, most of the people that want to do a white ethno-state are probably fucking feds. It's probably Fed and international civilian organizations that are set up to create this narrative so that they can publicly justify the threat response through the government, which is exactly what's occurred. I don't think anybody has any kind of delusion about like white supremacism as if there's going to be some kind of like white state, if that were even some kind of ideology in the first place. But the reality is that the United States has no fucking control. We're being run by a foreign government, and they want to kill your military-aged males. And so most of your military-aged males in the United States are white, which is a word that they fucking made up in the first place, because you're a lot of different cultural groups that make up, quote, white people. And so now they want to fucking kill you all. And so they're labeling you white supremacist extremists. Anyway, that was a digression. The point is the DHS threat assessment report that's been compiled, it's a draft now. It puts the highest priority of the federal government into combating white supremacist extremism, which is WSE, and the shift. Well, this is where they shifted. This is what's key. They shift into domestic violence extremism, which is WVE. This is a new acronym that they started to introduce here, and this is the kind of the intermission phase of where they transition into that. This is very key. To understand the continuity here, what you have to understand is that first you had 9/11 that created your threat response apparatus all through the United States, where you gave up every fucking right that you had for this threat. The threat slowly fucking went away, right? Just dissolved out of fucking nowhere for no reason. So now you don't have any fucking foreign terrorism. Now it's white supremacism. Now that's the next transition point, which has already been in play. Now they're transitioning from white supremacism into domestic violent extremism, right? There was no fucking domestic violent extremism in any kind of degree ever. The entire point of this, what's going on right now, is that people are realizing that there's world government in the United States, including people in the federal government and in the armed services. They're understanding that they've lost their fucking country. And so they're talking about it and writing about it on social media. Out of that concern for world government, they're like, oh, we got to get a handle on this. They started to create the Boogaloo movement and the fucking white supremacist movements and shit like that. If you look at the white supremacist shit, like public protests or whatever that they show up as, number one, anybody that was white supremacist wouldn't have a fucking banner that says I'm a white supremacist. They would be whatever organization they were. They're showing up with like white power and white pride stuff, and most of the signs that they're making that you see in the media are like they'll use like fucking like duct tape letters and shit and make their words all wonky. It doesn't make any sense. Like it's totally fucking fed op and probably NGOs that are creating the entire image of white supremacy. The reason that they're doing this is because they're setting up the threat narrative to then transition to domestic violent extremism, which will end up being every fucking constitutionally minded person. Any person in the United States that thinks that the Constitution isn't just a piece of toilet paper and that it's worth defending with actual energy and sacrifice, anybody that's willing to step into danger to defend the Constitution, you are domestic violent extremists. And that is what this is about, is painting you to be white supremacists, even though it doesn't even really exist. And this is the shape of things to come. And we are now past the benchmark of when this transition has begun. In the draft from the DHS, that's from the last 3 days, it's been reported on by CNN and Politico. And this should be alarming for a number of reasons, but it should be particularly noticed that you have an unelected independent executive agency, meaning that you don't elect anybody or have any oversight over it whatsoever. They're being advised, their current secretary, they just got a brand new secretary, Wolf. Wolf is the acting secretary of the DHS. He just got in there last month. Obviously, Wolf is a Jew. Some of the people that are advising on this would be like your John Cohen. John Cohen is like he's also a Jew. He works for the Intelligence Committee for DHS. I think he's probably former at this point, but he's the one that's in all these fucking dickless articles in the MSM, giving all the background information. And well, you know what they're citing? You know what they're citing for like the case of how this shit is getting out of control? They're citing the Rittenhouse kid that shot the BLM and Antifa at the fucking BLM protest that just happened. That's what they're citing, okay? So this is all going. This is the reason why I question where the kid came from in the fucking first place. I know that people are like, no, you can't. No. Yeah, okay. You're starting to see what this shit looks like. They're the one that he's citing for the justification for this. They were going to do it anyway. It doesn't matter what happens. They have a program, and they're just going to align their program. It doesn't matter what you change. The only way that you can stop this is to get in front of it right now. You need to be the senators are all bought. Your politicians are all bought. They're all fucking traitors. The only way that you are going to take care of this domestically at all is to turn on the minds of people, to have them understand what's going on. And the only way that you're going to do that is by making issues like this be apparent and loud, so that everybody sees what's going on, and so that there's no room at all to twist it. And you have to stand out there up in front and say as loudly as you can that these are foreign organizations that have infiltrated the United States and are guiding the United States into organizing its security apparatus that came about as a result of 9/11. They are reorganizing that apparatus to attack citizens in the United States. And that's all this is about, because they're going to take over no matter fucking what. And you better believe that you're going to be fighting. They're going to make you fight. They don't want you to fight them, the actual people that are responsible for all this and doing all this. They want to put up proxies so you waste your energy and blood killing dumbasses just like you that don't know what the fuck is going on. And that's what this is all about. This is the entire game, and it's hundreds, if not thousands of years old.